All right. Welcome to my YouTube channel for this week. Welcome to the video for this week. So this week I'll be talking about the concept of OKR. OKR is am I supposed to talk about what OKR means? Okay, there's a section in the video where I actually created a slide to talk about that. I know some people probably already use OKR systems, so you can consider this video as a refresher, really. But those that are just, getting to learn about this, would go deep down into this. So we'll be talking about OKR systems and how to use it to set goals and track performance. So that's what we'll be talking about. How to use OKR system to set goals and track performance. So just a bit of initial talks, right? For everyone running a team, for everyone, running a project or doing anything whatsoever, typically you set that thing up because you wanted to make a particular objective happen, right? A very weird, maybe not weird, but a very out of scope example is that you feel like having ice cream, and then you set out, you leave your home to go get ice cream. So your objective is to get that ice cream, right? So for everything that we have to do personally or career-wise or on the business or on your team that you run, you always are trying to make something happen. And typically, the success of that thing happens really, matters to you, because that's why you set it out in the first place. Imagine the ice cream situation. You set out to go get it, and then you didn't find it. You would the purpose for going out is defeated, and then you probably come back home not feeling too happy with the situation. Right, so that's some initial talks around this. Everyone is trying to make something happen, whether in your business, whether on your team or things like that. So how do you, before I say that, if it's just 1-2 things you want to make happen, you're good. You could probably mentally know that this is what you want to do, and then you go for it. Or in a situation where you have so many things happening and then one builds on each other, then complexity sets in, right? For example, running a startup, right? Running a startup requires you to build your product, test it, market, get feedback from users, scale it, raise investors, fund, and all of that. That's a lot of things going on. So how do you stay sane with doing all of this without losing track? Of course, as the business grows, or as a project grows, or as a startup grows, you have people join you to do those things. But how do you even ensure that everyone know what they're supposed to do, and then all of what they do is coming up into the exact goal for the business or for the startup, right? So OKR system is one very awesome system that has helped people, organization, teams, both big and small, to track performance, to set the goals and to track performance. So that's what we'll be looking through in this video. So to get this started, right, what is OKR? What does OKR mean? OKR simply means objectives and key results, right? It means, objective, key results. So it's just an acronym of that word, objective and key results. And in clear definition, it's just a system that allows you be conscious or write out what your key objectives are and then help you write out your key results. Objectives are what you want to achieve. Key results are where you get to that lets you know that you have achieved those objectives. Remember, the title of this video is how to use the OKR system to set goals and track performance. So the first part is setting goals, right? And then the point of setting goals is deciding on the objective. I would ask, right, if you're a startup founder, or if you're a business owner, or if you're a top level CCU's officer, what is the current objective for the team that you're on? What is the objective for quarter one, right? For the Q1 of the year, Q2, Q3, Q4, what are the objectives? Or you are just going through every day, coming to work, doing whatever is available, and then, taking it as it comes. Taking it as it comes is definitely not a good way to, run things. It just means that you can be drawn. It's just like a car without the steering wheel. Of course, we have self-driving cars, but self-driving cars have machines and AI maneuvering the steering internally. But it's just like a car without a steering wheel. Typically, the car, if you put the car on a straight road, it would keep, going straight. But let's say there's just a tiny stone on the road that the tire probably steps on. That stone, depending on the way the stone is positioned on the road, it could turn the tire to move a little bit, to the side. And then the car that is going straight just goes this way. That's exactly what it looks like when you're just getting through the months, the weeks, without a clear objective. Meaning, if it goes straight, fine. If something happens, maybe, that stone in this case could be, maybe there was a challenge, or there's even something new that you guys just discovered. Everybody moves to that, and then it now turns that the car is just, all over the place. At some point, what would happen? The car will hit a place and then will just crash, right? So that's really, the first part here, which is setting a goal. You need to craft out an objective. Do you want to craft out an objective weekly, or monthly, or quarterly, or yearly, right? I would say that you want to have a yearly objective, then scale it down to quarterly, then scale it down to monthly, then scale it down to weekly, then scale it down to daily, right? Because typically, right, the year, one whole year is 365 days done right? If you'd say that, oh, we had an awesome year, right? What you're basically saying is, we had 365 days of awesome things happen. Of course, in real sense, maybe some days of the year didn't necessarily turn out well, because it's a net effect, right? Some days might not be as good, but some days are just as good, and then it covers for the days that are not so good, right? So that's the first part of setting goals. So you need to have an objective. So this system helps you to think through your objectives. So first is, what are your objectives, and then the next part is, what are your key results. So that's where the tracking comes in, because if you say your objective is this, the key results that helps you know when that objective is accomplished are like the key things, that you can bank on to say, oh, yes, this is achieved, or, this worked out well, we made this happen, right? So that's the concept of OKR and how to use it to set goals and track performance. It's deeper than this, right? So I'll go into the depth of it. This is actually going to be a 4-series video, I believe, if not 5, right? This video will be about the introduction, right? Next video, I'll talk about the templates that I have put together, and then I'll talk about how to set OKRs in a small team, and then how to use OKR in a big, large team. And then I'm currently testing a software, and if it works out, I'll talk about it, how to use simple tech tools to manage those things. Let's go a little bit deeper, right? What's the origin of OKR system? How did this come to be? First, it was created by Peter Drucker, right? In his book, I think Management by Objectives is a book. I can't remember. But I know I've interacted with the material at some point, right? Then it was taken over by Andrew Grove, which was the person that invented OKR at Intel, right? Then John Doerr brought that up and pushed that into Google. And then after about 14 years or thereabout of Google working with this, they pushed out a video of how Google set goals, with OKRs. Remember, in this video, I'm talking about how to use this system to set goals and track performance. So that video, I would put it in the description. That video at Google talking about how they use the system to set goals. The interesting thing about using OKR system to set goals is it makes it easy for you to know what you're focusing on, right? At the point of writing all your objectives and your key results, when you go back to review, you'll probably see that some objectives are not as important, right? And the smaller the team you have, the fewer the amount of objective and key results you want to set. I would explain why in some minutes to come. So let's go on, right? So Google published that video, and today a lot of companies, use that systems to run their business. Large companies, small companies, even people now use OKRs to run their personal life, right? Because in the real sense, if let's say I want to achieve something this year, I could write my objective for the year and then write the key results that I want to make happen. Then I'll write what are the initiatives I want to put in to make those key results happen. So key result OKR has become so widely used, and so we have quite a lot of companies that use OKR right now. Slack, Intel, LinkedIn, Google, Siemens, Samsung, Spotify, Amazon, Netflix, and a lot of companies, right? Again, if the system doesn't work, we won't have this much companies adopting it, and you won't say that because it's a lot of big companies that use it, so maybe it's just too complex for small companies. It actually works for everyone. In subsequent series of this video, I will talk about using this on a small team and using this on a very large team, right? The last time I checked, I think Google has about 80,000 employees, right? And come to think of it, right? How have you ever imagined how company as big as Google use, systems, or how company as big as Google track performance or set goals, decide what they want to get done, and even stay focused, right? Because in a company like Google, where there is almost resource to make anything happen, it's even easy to do a lot of fancy things, right? I would say if Google wanted to buy all the billboard in a city just to push a product, they probably have the resource, right? So how do they know that, okay, this is what I think, or this is what we think we want to focus on, and this is what is important to us, right? So OKR system is that system they really decide on. At some point I worked as a Google student ambassador for my university, and working with the Google team, it was constantly mentioned that you have to do cool things that matter, you have to do more with less. OKRs and all of these things are things I got introduced into all the way back in university. So let's go a little further. So how do you use OKR, right? How do you use the system? let's say you're trying to set a goal maybe for the year, for the quarter, for the rest of the year, for the rest of the week, or even for whatever you're working on. So how do you use OKR? It's really as simple as this. You have your objective. I would say you decide on the 4, 5, or 3, 4 objectives that you really want to focus on, right? Objective 1, objective 2, objective 3, objective 4, right? And under each objective, you write the key results. This is what I think should happen that makes me feel like I have achieved this objective. Again, you might see that companies who get it wrong in terms of their objective and key results, eventually they tend not to have as much results. Again, that's a topic for another day. How do you decide on the objective you want to set for yourself or for your company or for your team? That's a total conversation. But let's say you have agreed on the objective, because you could set the wrong objective. A good example is, say you're trying to set an objective to make sure that the bounce rate on your website goes all the way to 10%. That's a nice objective. If you work in marketing, having a 10% bounce rate is awesome. But does the project, does the business, does what you're working on, does it really need that objective for success? Does that objective matter to the bottom line? You could achieve that objective and it could make you happy, but it doesn't add any monetary or main goal to your business or to your startup. So you just did all of that to make yourself happy. Now that it's 10%, what else? Sales didn't increase, nothing increased. So there's a part of deciding or intelligently setting the right objectives. I work as a consultant, so I work with startups, companies, and I've had to constantly say, this is not the objective you should be focusing on, or this objective is not for now, right? There are more important things you want to look into than to be setting your team to be focusing on this objective. So you can always reach out to me if you want to have a conversation like that. I'll drop my email in the description. All right, so you set the objective, then you decide what key results helps you know whether that objective is done. Same way, you have to set the right key results. If the key result is too ambitious, right, then it's almost not going to be achievable. And if the key result is too underwhelming, right, you probably just waste chances, because what you should have set something really too high for, you're setting something really low down there. Then after setting the key result, you determine the initiative. Someone might ask, or before I talk about that, initiative are things you want to do. These are like things you want to make happen. These are the things you do to make that key result happen. Right. So you might ask, how does task tracker or task tracking tool like Trello, ClickUp, Monday.com, Asana, how do they come into the OKR? Should I throw away my Trello account with all of the Trello boards I have because, hey, this OKR is a new fancy thing? No, right? I would say that after the initiative level, you then create tasks to make that initiative happen. You set an objective, you set the key results, you have initiatives. Then under the initiative, you then set actual tasks, right? Let's take a clear example. Say for example, you want to reduce churn rate in your business. You want to reduce the amount of people that are unsubscribing from your service. So that's an objective. Reduce the amount of people that are unsubscribing. You say that the objective doesn't necessarily have a number. It's your key result that has a clear number. So my key result is, I want to reduce that from 50% down to 25%, right? So that's key result for that. So you have your objective to reduce the amount of people leaving your business. Key result, I want to reduce it from 50% to 25%, meaning currently 50% of those in your business are leaving and you want to reduce it to just 25. right? So what are the initiatives you want to do, right? First, maybe you want to set up a feedback system to help you know what's happening in real time so that you can arrest those situations or those complaints. Initiative 2, maybe you want to start a loyalty system, a loyalty reward. So maybe as people purchase, they get a loyalty reward that they can redeem maybe during Christmas or at some point in the year. Then number 3, you want to start a referral system that makes people, current customers, get some discount on their own service by just referring other people to the service. So these are the 3 initiatives you want to make happen. You can see we have an objective, we have a key result, we have initiative. So those initiatives won't do themselves. You then need to create tasks. Set up a feedback system is our first initiative. So what do I need to set up a feedback system? Number 1, I need to determine what questions or what insight I'm looking for in your feedback. Then number 2, I need to determine what system. Am I getting feedback through a form? Am I getting feedback through calling them? Am I getting feedback through sending an automated WhatsApp message after every service is delivered? Then number 3, you want to go ahead to build that system. So if it's a form, go on Google Forms and create the form, or go on any other platform. So forms, many forms exist. If it's a call, right, do you want to create the call script, or do you want to set up that, then task 4, you want to, task 4 or 5, task 4, you want to set up a system that allows you to process the insights as fast as possible. And then you want to set up a process that helps you take the insight into the business. So those are tasks, right? Those tasks are the ones that then go right into your ClickUp, that goes right into your, Asana, Trello, or things like that. Same thing, you want to set up a loyalty reward. That's our initiative 2. Then first thing you want to do is to research what are the loyalty rewards that competitors are giving. Then number 2, you want to have a design thinking, brainstorming with your team to know what to offer. Then you want to set up that system. Then next, you want to make that announcement on your website. Then next, you want to set up, tools that allows you to track those things. Then next, you want to talk to your finance people to see whether if you give a 30% discount by the end of the year when they have earned a certain thing. I hope that won't, you're going to be asking them if that won't really eat a lot into your profit, thing. So that's how to use OKR to, implement those goals and to track those goals. As you get the task done, you keep ticking it on whatever tools you're using, and then you come back to this OKR system to see whether it's helping you achieve your key results, right? So that's it basically, right? That's the whole concept of using this. Here are some examples of what a good OKR system, looks like. First, in the marketing and sales department, maybe your objective is to supercharge your inbound marketing engine, right? Nice, right? You want to start getting leads that are just coming in without you really doing a lot of outreach. Great. So how do we know, or how are you going to know whether that thing is achieved? First, you're going to be tracking the inbound traffic to trial serum conversion rate, and you want to make sure it's at 20%. Maybe it's at 10% currently. You want to increase that down to 20%. Second thing you're going to be tracking is to increase your inbound traffic to contact us conversion rate by 10%. So those, you can see key results has numbers. These are like results. These are like key results that should happen. So that means there's the part of you even trying to make sure that what you put out as key results actually matter to the growth of the company. But again, like I said, that's another conversation. So in sales, this person says, we want to speed up deal velocity, meaning want to make sure that more people are signing up to a deal. We want to increase that speed, that velocity, that rate at which people, at which we close leads, right? First, we need to increase our high value leads from 30% to 40%. Again, if you bring those back, the objective is clear. The key result is what we're talking about. So under the key result, you can then determine the initiative. For example, the key result here is increase the percentage of high value leads generated. So what are we going to do? Are we going to increase budget, or are we going to adjust our creatives? Are we going to adjust our landing pages, etc.? Second key result is hire 8 new salespeople to ensure leads are tended to promptly. So what is the initiative? Roll out or talk to HR to roll out a new, recruitment outreach, interview people, get people on board, right? And all that. So you could see that this works for every and any part of the company, whether it is small unit or whether it's a big functional unit. So this is how it really works. You can also see for human resource, reduce the candidate timeline between application and offer to 35 days. There are some companies that have almost 3 months of recruitment, before they can finalize on a candidate. So it could be an objective to reduce that, right? So I created a template that you can adapt. Fantastic template. I just looked out for various templates available online, try to see how to put this, then put my thoughts into it and write some Excel function, and then the template was created. The next video I will talk about this template and how to use it, but you wouldn't get the best out of the template if you haven't really mastered how to do this in a very simple way, maybe in a plain document or a plain sheet of paper, right? So I would say the feedback or the takeaway from this video is try to list all the 4 objectives you have, maybe for this quarter or for this month, then decide the key results, and then start to think about the initiative that you want to work with to make that happen. When we talk about the template and I explain it, you can then move everything to the template and synchronize all the effort. So I think that would be it for this initial video. Again, key takeaways from this: number 1, objective. OKR is objective and key results. It's a simple tool that first allows you to think about your goal, right? Helps you think through things. Then next, when you have been able to think through things, you go ahead to implement and write those objective and key results down. Then at the end, it helps you to track, right? If you created OKR, if you use this to create OKR for the month, by the end of the month, you can come back and say, okay, first objective is to reduce our churn rate from 50% to 25%. So what number is it now, right? Sorry, our first objective is to reduce churn rate. Our key result is to go from 50% to 25%. So if you check the data and it looks like the churn rate is now at 24.5, that's success, right? You just succeeded. And recall, reducing that churn rate means you have been able to recover 50% of customers that would have left, right? So that's 50% more cash that you have brought to yourself, to your company, right? So that's the first takeaway. Try to list your objective and things so that when we talk through the template, it will be easy to get through. If at any point you are stuck here, feel free to talk to me. I would put my email in the chat box. I have one-to-one sessions that are available off my website, and currently, work hand in hand with companies to help them set this off, right? Imagine if everyone in your company has an OKR. Imagine if everyone, even down to your intern. Imagine if they have their own OKR system. So that means when they come for the whole month, they know what they're exactly focusing on, right? And then in terms of talking about how to use OKR for larger companies, what is technically happening is you create the OKR for the company as a whole, and then you go right ahead to then split that to service units or to each of the key areas. Then the key areas can split that into maybe the key team members, right? And then the team members can now write their own OKR. So that means if everyone on the team has a clear OKR, for example, for the month, it will be easy for you to, demand accountability at the end of the month, right? There are situations of startups saying that, there are a lot of chaos. Chaos really, I think I wrote about that on my LinkedIn newsletter. Chaos happens when there's just a lot going on that you didn't think through or plan for, right? But if there is an OKR systems for everyone, it could be very obvious. So it would even help you know who is not a good performing talent, right? Quickly. Of course, HR put in things like performance tracker and things, right? So even you could work with the HR through the OKR to help set the performance trackers and help to see who really is moving the needle. Because what you want to have on your team are the key people that are moving the needle. There's no point having someone on your team when that person is not pulling their weight, right? And that's what the OKR systems help with. I'm excited for this series. In the next video, I'll talk about the OKR system, the template I've created, right? There are many templates. You can actually go on Google and search OKR templates, right? But I haven't seen anyone as thoughtful as the one I created. Not because I created it, but because, I've had to compare a lot of things and bring in my consulting and, strategic design knowledge to try to build something that works, right? So right after that, I'll talk about how to use OKR in bigger and larger teams, and also talk about how to use it in smaller teams. Then talk about a system of software that you can use. It would be nice if there's just a software that helps you track everything. So alerts, data, and all those things can come into. So I'm testing many softwares, and I'm sure I'll be back with the one that works. So thank you so much. I think my goal is to really help companies run more efficiently, right? Whether in terms of growth, in terms of structure, or in terms of how they approach innovation, right? Because the more companies that can run smoothly, the more growth they have, and then the more people they can recruit. So thank you so much, and see you in the next video. Share this with people on your team, or founders, or team leaders, and help them see how to start doing things and how to start running their projects without having sleepless nights. Thank you.